What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs and a video about Chicago. Chicago, Illinois is an amazing city. I go there every couple of years. Great people, great pizza, breathtaking skyline. The downside is, like most major cities, it has some places that should be avoided at all costs. In Chicago's case, probably a little more than other cities. Today we will look at the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago. If you live there, you probably already know where these places are. If you're from out of town and let's say you're going to a Bears game or a White Sox game, this list may stop you from making a wrong turn that could endanger your life. A couple quick disclaimers. We're looking at the entire metro area, not just the city of Chicago. So if we talk about a suburb or some other place in the metro area, you know why we went there. We are also going by the violent crime stats published by the FBI. We're not going by reputation, legend, or history. I promise locals will be in the comments section complaining about what they think should have been the most dangerous and why this place wasn't there and that place isn't that bad. We go by the stats because you could ask 100 different locals to make a list of the most dangerous places and you will get 100 different lists. One other thing is we also use the location's actual name, the one the city gives it, the one you can find on a map if you're looking for it. Remember, this video is really made for people not from Chicago. So if you're from Chicago, you're gonna go, that's not what we call it. No, that's not what you call it. It's what the city and the map makers call it. Okay, let's see where you could raise the odds of an early demise in Chicago. Number 10, Chatham. Chatham is a neighborhood in Southside Chicago, and I'll tell you right now, we're going to spend a lot of time in Southside Chicago. It's just got a bad reputation, because a lot of bad stuff goes on there. Matter of fact, just last night in Chatham, a young man was shot a couple times by a guy wearing a clown mask and latex gloves. This neighborhood doesn't look terrible. Like a lot of other places that have really rundown neighborhoods, like let's say East St. Louis or Detroit, Chicago, for some reason, their neighborhoods sometimes are bad, but they don't look terrible. I mean, Chatham, every single door just about has one of those security gates on it, but not all the windows. So that's a plus. There's about 30,000 residents in Chatham, and it's only like 3 square miles. One of their most famous residents was Ernie Banks. He was called Mr. Sunshine or Mr. Cub. He played for the Chicago Cubs for almost 20 years and is the first player to ever have his jersey retired by the club. These days, Chatham is considered one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Chicago. In Chatham, you have a 1 in 14 chance of becoming the victim of a crime while you're there. Their total crime rate is 189% higher than the national average, and their violent crime rate is 418% higher than the national average. Ouch. We're only at number 10. If you wanted to move to Chatham and buy a home, you're looking at about $250,000 for a 3 or 4 bedroom plus a bath. Now, I just eyeballed that. That's not the median price or anything like that. That usually confuses people. I just look at Zillow, kind of get an idea what's going on there. But that's what you can get. Number 9, South Shore, Chicago. South Shore, again, is on the south side of Chicago, but it's on the shoreline of Lake Michigan, not too far north of the Illinois-Indiana state line. They're not too far from Gary, Indiana, and I've actually seen people from Gary kind of blame Southside Chicago for all their problems. Come on, let's be real, Gary. You did it yourself. South Shore was once a really nice place to live in the Chicago area. And by looking at it and how close they are to the lake and everything like that, they really should be. If they put a little effort into it, maybe they could turn this place around. But right now, it kind of sucks, especially when it comes to violent crime. This is also where Larry Ellison and Kanye West were raised. They're both born in different places, Atlanta for Kanye West, New York City for Larry Ellison. If you don't know who he is the co-founder and was once the CEO of Oracle, but now I guess he's the chief technology officer. I don't know why that is, but anyway. South Shore has about 47,000 residents, and they have a 1 in 15 chance of becoming the victim of a crime while living there. Their total crime rate is 186% higher than the national average, and their violent crime rate, 506% higher than the national average. If you wanted to buy property here, this is really interesting. You can buy the typical 3 to 4 bedroom home here if they have them available, but they have a lot of these buildings that have several apartments in them where you can get, like $415,000 for a 9-bedroom place. But just eyeballing South Shore, $350,000 is about what you're looking at to buy someplace that's okay with 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. Like most of Chicago, this place has brick buildings, which is really good for drive-by season. No one likes to catch a bullet while you're watching Jeopardy. Number 8, Riverdale. Riverdale, again, on the south side of Chicago. This isn't as much a neighborhood as it is a bunch of projects and a water treatment plant. They do have some areas over here that are pretty run down, so it'll be kind of obvious that this is not a good place to be. The only one that should be really going here are police, residents, and parole officers. The population of Riverdale is about 7,300 people, and they all have a 1 in 15 chance of becoming the victim of a crime while living here, or visiting, or just hanging out, driving by, whatever. The total crime rate here is 178% higher than the national average. Their violent crime, 546% higher than the national average. There's never much for sale here because, like I said, mostly it is housing projects. But right now, there's a nice looking place for $120,000. 6 bedrooms, 3 baths. It's not the best thing, but it looks like it's okay. Riverdale got its name because it's got the Calumet River going right through or on its border. I read one article where a cop, I guess the guy was a cop, said this is a great place if you like to go city kayaking and finding bodies. Thought that was kind of messed up. Number 7, West Englewood, Chicago. Now, West Englewood is just right next to Englewood, and most people just refer to this whole area as Englewood, but they're definitely separate. This is one of those neighborhoods that most people don't want to live here, and it kind of shows. You look at any block, and it's like 2 or 3 houses at least are boarded up, or there's a couple vacant lots where there used to be houses, and now they've torn it down. It's just one of those places. And it's a freaking dangerous place to live. They have just over 30,000 residents, and they all have a 1 in 12 chance of being the victim of a crime while living here. Their total crime rate is 261% higher than the national average, and their violent crime rate is 585% higher than the national average. Like I said, this is not a good place to live. Tried to see if anyone famous was from here, and nothing's listed, so either no one is famous that moved here, or they're not admitting it. Looking at the homes here, if you wanted to buy something here, you can get a 3-bedroom place for about $130,000. It's going to need some work, but that's about where the livable places start. What's really nice about this place is you can buy vacant lots for like 20 and 30 grand. You could buy a couple lots and just hope the neighborhood turns around before you like die of old age or something. Number 6, Grand Crossing. Technically, this neighborhood is called Greater Grand Crossing. Back in the late 1800s, it was called Cornell, and it was mostly a neighborhood of Irish and Scottish people that worked on the rail. Most people just call it Grand Crossing. It is right above Chatham and just to the west of South Shore, right in the middle of all the excitement of the South Side. This is another place that's got a lot of scary-looking alleys, boarded-up buildings, and vacant lots. Grand Crossing has 32,000 residents, and they all have a 1 in 13 chance of becoming the victim of a crime while living here. Their overall crime or their total crime rate is 229% higher than the national average. Violent crime rate is 606% higher than the national average. How do you get that high? The good news is you could find livable homes here for about $200,000. In between $200,000 and $300,000 is what you're looking at. This is another place where you might be able to get a vacant lot for about $35,000, $40,000. Number 5, North Lawndale. All right, finally we're not on the south side. North Lawndale is in between Cicero to the west and the Loop, which is to the east. Well, there's near west side in between them, but it's to their east. North Lawndale actually was part of Cicero back in the late 1800s. Back then, it was mostly a Czech neighborhood. These days, North Lawndale has a mix of just about everyone, and there's 35,000 of that mix of people, and you have a 1 in 11 chance of being the victim of a crime here. The total crime rate, or the overall crime rate, is 300% above the national average, and their violent crime rate, 642% higher than the national average. That's brutal. This is another one of those places where you can buy those buildings that have different apartments in them. You could buy one of those for about $350,000 to $450,000 in that neighborhood, but to get a normal house here, you're looking at just a little over $200,000. It's not going to be the best, but it's a house. Number 4, Englewood. Back to the south side we go with Englewood. Englewood, in case you don't know, is just east of West Englewood. Funny how that works out. This, again, just like West Englewood, is one of those places that has a lot of boarded up houses and vacant lots. You know your neighborhood sucks when people just abandon their houses by the dozens. They had some very interesting residents over the years. They had Bernie Mac. He lived here for quite a while when he was a kid. Jennifer Hudson, singer who was on American Idol, and a bunch of other things since then. I actually think she's the most successful person to ever come out of American Idol. Oh, also, H.H. Holmes lived here for a while. If you don't know who he is, he was an American serial killer and con man. He had a thing they called the Murder Castle at the corner of South Wallace Avenue and West 63rd Street. Good times in Chicago. Not much has changed because there's still a good chance you get killed in Englewood. There's around 26,000 residents in Englewood, and they all have about a 1 in 12 chance of being the victim of a crime. Their overall crime is 254% higher than the national average, and violent crime is 648% higher than the national average. You can find abandoned homes and vacant lots here for around 70,000, maybe even as low as 29,000. I saw one. But if you want to get a home, you're looking at 250,000 on up. Number 3, East Garfield Park, Chicago, Illinois. Getting out the south side again, we have East Garfield Park, which is just north of North Lawndale. This is considered West Side Chicago. This is where basketball great Isaiah Thomas spent his childhood. If you've been following along on this channel and making lists of places to never go, visit, live, whatever, this should go on that list. I'll tell you why. They have a little over 20,000 residents living here, and they all have a 1 in 11 chance of being the victim of a crime. Their total crime rate, or their overall crime rate, is 285% higher than the national average. Their violent crime rate, a whopping 661% higher than the national average, and they're still not the worst. If you ever thought about buying a house here that's not a vacant house or a vacant lot, starting prices are around $300,000. Number 2, Washington Park. Washington Park is just north of Englewood, and it's the type of place where crime novelists go when they're having writer's block. This neighborhood has a lot of vacant lots and a lot more boarded up buildings. Kind of reminds me of Detroit in that respect. This isn't really known as a neighborhood as much as they call it a community area. Back in the mid to late 1800s, this was a neighborhood just filled with Irish and Germans, so I'm sure you can imagine there was a lot of beer drinking going on there. They all work for the rail lines. Washington Park has a population of just about 12,000 residents, and each one of them has a 1 in 11 chance of becoming the victim of a crime. Their overall crime rate is 274% higher than the national average, and this is where they really stepped up their game. Their violent crime rate is 713% higher than the national average. When it comes to home prices here, they're all over the map. I've seen some that looked decent, livable for about $150,000 to $200,000, but then they have other ones that, are a lot better, and they're about $600,000. So this one's, again, all over the map, but you can still buy vacant lots for under $50,000 in this neighborhood. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There is a link down below. All right, on to number 1. And number 1. West Garfield Park. Gotta admit, I'm surprised the worst neighborhood is not on the south side for once. It's not like West Garfield Park is a stranger to this type of list. It's just usually the worst are on the south side. This is an area with some of the other neighborhoods that were on this list known as K-Town. This is because many of the streets that go north-south here start with K. Keystone, Karloff, Cadell, Keeler, Kenneth, Kilbourne, it goes on. What else goes on here is a whole bunch of crime. They got about 17,000 residents living here, and you got about a 1 in 9 chance of being the victim of a crime if you're one of them. Their overall crime rate is 396% higher than the national average, and their violent crime rate is 789% higher than the national average. Now, if you ever did want to get a house here, if you can find one that's not completely boarded up or burned to the ground, houses start here around $230,000 that are livable. I mean, you can go a little cheaper if you want something you're going to have to do a whole bunch of work to. That work's probably going to involve chasing out squatters. All right, that's today's list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. One piece of information I didn't include in this one is common sense. Most of the people in these neighborhoods are good, down-to-earth people just trying to get by. They just have a certain amount of idiots there causing all this havoc. Really, that's true with any city or state in the United States. 90% of the people are decent, hardworking people, just want to live their life. All right, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Be nice to each other.